guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Evan Thomas of ASMR Money Mentor. So glad that you could join me today on this eve of Mother's Day. So I started thinking about an episode that I could create for you about our mothers. Hopefully many of you have your mothers in your life. I really hope that you do. I do. Even though I'm 58 years old, my mother is 82. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about everything that she taught me, not only about money, but about life in general. And I am so thankful for her because I don't think I could have become the Evan Thomas that I became without having her in my life as a foundational influence. So we'll leave it at that and I'll continue on with the episode. Before I get started, thank you to many of you that have subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. I know that you are a lot younger than I am, and I think that's awesome because we learn about money through other people. And so many of us that have attained $1 million net worth or more in our lifetimes don't really share with younger people what they've done, unfortunately, and that is really sad for me. And so that's why I created this channel for you, so that you can learn through my experience and hopefully not make the same mistakes that I did. And if you do make mistakes, I hope that you learn from them so that you can move forward. So with that being said, I always say for those of you that are new, go to my playlist, start with episode number 1, and I talk through every single year over the past 15 to 18 years what I was thinking about money, what I did, how much money I had, what the market returned, what my balances were, etc. So I would encourage you to go and take a look at those episodes by osmosis. Put the phone next to your bed, listen to these episodes, because I have to say, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, success with money over time has very little to do with education and more to do with behaviors. If you continually remind yourself, either through my channel or other people, that you are committed to your goal over time, you will have better success over time than had you not had a mentor or role model in which to continually tell yourself that you're committed to your goal of reaching financial independence. And for me, you guys know, it was watching the Susie Orman Show every Saturday night. So here it is, Saturday night, that I'm producing this episode right before Mother's Day. I want you to know, if you continue to recommit to your goals, all of you are going to do just fine. That's my belief. And I will always believe that. So, continuing on with today's episode then. You know, tomorrow, of course, is Mother's Day. And I'm going to share with you a couple things that my mother taught me when I was very young about life and money. Many of you know that I've produced episodes through the end of June of 2024. So I'm on Tuesday and Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, I backtrack. But I've already completed all of my episodes through 2023, sharing with you what I did with money. And in one of those episodes, I talked through this book. The Precious Present. So I'm not going to go into detail about what's in this book because I do that in a subsequent episode. But I just want to say, my mother got me this book May 20th. some of you have written to me in the comments, and thank you so much. If I don't get to your comment right away, I apologize. It's because I'm thinking about what you said. And then I'm either going to create an episode or think about my response. You guys know I work a full-time job. This channel right now is not my full-time gig, but it will be most likely in 2025 or 2026 when I quit my job. Anyway, I digress. So I have to produce these episodes late at night sometimes or on the weekend. And I think about your comments, and I think about what I can do to help people. So with that being said, continue to leave comments, and eventually the show will switch gears and it's going to be all about you. Right now it's about me talking about my past. So I'm really excited about the future of this channel. Anyway, so at 31 years old, I was still struggling. It wasn't until I was 32 years old that I got a job with the company that I'm with right now. So please put that into perspective. If you are in your 20s, you're doing great. Do the best you can. Your lifetime is a long time. And if you stay committed to your goals, you will get to where you want to be. But back to the precious present. You know, there are people in your life, especially your mother, hopefully, that will recognize if you're struggling. And by her giving me that book, taught me that I needed to live in the precious present. It wasn't a gift that anybody was going to give me. It was the gift that I gave myself. So, with that being said, I will talk more about the precious present in a subsequent episode coming up in the next several weeks. But you know, my mom, as I said, is 82 years old. We just recently moved her into a 2-bedroom retirement center. My mom and her husband were in a 1-bedroom. Now they're in a 2-bedroom, and my sister actually went to where they live and helped them move into the 2-bedroom just recently. I'm producing this in May of 2024, and that just happened. And I'm going to be going up there in the next several weeks. So stay tuned if you see that I'm in a different location. Producing episodes is because I'm in Ohio or North Carolina, probably for an extended amount of time. I can work from home, as you guys know. So my Monday, Wednesday, and Friday episodes will be the same background that you're used to with the hat. Anyway, so join me as I go through this journey over the next several months. But I want to be there to be with my mom during these, wonderful years. And she's starting to lose her memory and things like that. So there are some things going on that we are, of course, dealing with. So right now, if you guys are younger and you have your mom and you have your dad, always tell them how much you love them all the time. Remind them, thank them for things that they have done for you. And that is probably the greatest gift you can give them for the gift that they gave you. And by my mother giving me this book, again, taught me to live in today, the precious present. I was always either thinking about the past, living in the past, or thinking more about the future. One of my core competencies that I learned about myself by going through some surveys and things that we do at work is that I do live in the future. And I'm very futuristic, and I think that that helps to plan your life, especially with money. So I'm not saying it's a terribly bad thing. I'm just saying that I want to learn how to live more in today, if that makes sense, in the precious present today. And I think that by doing so, we can all be treatment center that I just told you about. That was a very hard experience for all of us. You know, watching older people try to transition into the new phase of life, like all of us, right? And my mother said, you know, Evan, we're leaving the house and we're going into this place. If you want something in the house, let me know. So I did come back home with a big picture that I gave my mom back in 2003. It's like a poster that they framed. And it reminds me so much of her that I took that. And right now it's in my closet because I'm not sure where I'm going to put it in my condo, but I'll find a place for it eventually. So that means a lot to me that I got it for her many years ago when she came to visit me here. And now I have it, you know, to remember her by. And I also have a couple things I want to share with you. Number one, that's probably really loud. This bowl and this bowl. My mom has a lot of this type of these dishes. And so, funny story, I told my mom that I wanted these two bowls, and there's a plate too that I wanted. And you know, it's really hard for people to let go of things. And so she said, Evan, yeah, you can probably have those, but put them on the table over there because I'm not quite sure yet. And then before I left, she said, Evan, yes, you can have those. And I said, thank you, Mom. They really remind me of you. And we had a really nice moment. The other thing that I wanted was Lucy Lemon. Let me introduce you to Lucy Lemon. Oh, shh. Okay, that's kind of tough to hold, so hold on. Lucy Lemon is a cookie jar, I know. So when I was a kid, we would fill up that cookie jar after we would go to the grocery store, my mom and I and my siblings. And my mom taught me the importance of discipline by saying, Evan, after school you can only have 3 cookies out of that cookie jar. But of course when she would go into the other room, I would take 4 or 5, right? Hey, kids do what kids do. And so most of the time I would be very disciplined, but that taught me, remember, 3 cookies, that's all you get. So as I got older, I learned a lot about discipline through that cookie jar, believe it or not. There's something else I wanted to share with you as well about my mother, is that when I was 15 years old, I wanted a moped. Do you guys know what a moped is? Do they still make them? I think so. But I had a yellow PA50. It was a Honda little moped. I think it's crazy because my mom and my dad would let me ride around the neighborhood with no helmet. What were they thinking? You know, you're going like 25 miles an hour. And kids back then, in the 70s and early 80s, would ride these little mopeds. And I don't remember how much it cost, but my mom said to me, Evan, we will give you a loan. I said, okay. And she made me create a little booklet, a payment booklet. And every couple weeks, I think it was, she would make me then pay her a payment towards paying off that moped. And I'll never forget how important that was for me as a young person to learn about the value of borrowing money and then paying it back. I can't remember if there was interest on it. There probably was. But I also remember my mom and I had an argument because I wasn't making payments. share with you about what my mom taught me about money. And this is not really about money at all. It's more about life. We used to go to a lake in the summer, to a lake house with other families. And there were canoes, and we would go fishing and things like that. And I remember we went to this lake, and it was raining every single day. The rain was coming down hard, which means we really couldn't go outside and play. We couldn't go into the lake, my brother, my sister, and my friends. And I was like, pouting around the house, around the little cottage or whatever it is by the lake. And my mom said, "Evan, I want to talk to you for a minute. Do you mind coming in here?" And she sat me down on a bed, and she looked at me and she said, "Evan, I want to talk to you about something. Your attitude is really bad. You're all cranky all day long. Why are you so cranky?" And I said, "Well, Mom, I can't go out and play. It's raining every day. I wish it was nice out." And she said something I will never forget. She said, "Evan, there are going to be things in your life that you cannot control. And the weather is one of them. But," she said, "you can control how you think about the weather, and that you can ultimately choose your own weather." And I was like, wow, that had such a huge impact on me, which meant as we go through our lives, and as we experience things, either with money or other things, we are, of course, going to be upset about things that happen to us, no doubt. I was upset by the fact that for many years I couldn't find a good job, even though I kept trying and trying and trying in my 20s. But finally, something clicked, and I found a company that treated me the way I wanted to be treated and gave me opportunities. But I, in a sense, created my own destiny because I leveraged the opportunity, but I positioned myself for success by doing a good job. If I would have looked the other way and thought to myself, things might be greener somewhere else, or I could go to another company and they might treat me better, then I would have missed the opportunities that I had to get me to where I am today, with money especially. And so my mom taught me that valuable life lesson that we as people, again, can choose our own weather, which means, in a sense, we can create our own destiny. Now, in considering concluding this episode, I just want to go back to the fact that for all of you right now, call your mother and let her know again how much you care for her and everything that she has done for you. I think that is super important. And in conclusion as well of this episode, I want to say that you guys know that even though my mom taught me these lessons that I just shared with you about money and repaying the loan that she gave me for my moped, that still didn't mean that I struggled in finding my way. Because I did struggle in finding my way, as you guys know. For those of you that are new, go watch my other episodes where I talk about my bankruptcy. It was devastating. So I temporarily, in the scheme of life, if you think of it that way, I lost myself, financially and otherwise. But even though I lost myself, I want you guys to know that I found myself, right? And if you're struggling right now with money, or if you're just now learning about personal finance, I'm here to tell you that you will do better. Always compare yourself to yourself and your former self. Always look at your former self and say, I can do better. Stop thinking about other people and what they've done. I think that for most of you, I hope that that I represent a person that you are watching and following that is not over the top. I mean, let's admit it. I'm not Andrew Tate. I'm Evan Thomas. Andrew Tate, for those of you that know who he is teaching things that, we don't have to get into, obviously, but that's over the top. Owning Bugattis and having mansions and all this richness that very few people can ever attain. And you just have to stop and say, you know what? Why not follow something that is a little bit easier to follow? As you guys know, I've talked about it before. You can choose your own weather in terms of where you want to get to with money. And you can choose to live not in the past and not in the future of money. You want to plan your future of money, but you want to live, as I talked about in this episode, in the precious present. So that's what my mom taught me about money. Again, I want you guys to think about what I said. Talk to your mother, tell her how much you appreciate her, tell her how much you love her. Because there will come a time in your life when your parents are no longer here. And I would hate for that to happen, that you didn't let them know how much you appreciate them. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out this episode. Everybody, if you like content like this, please hit the like button. I would appreciate it. Consider subscribing